You say you want to change, you want to become smarter, more disciplined, more successful. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Maybe you don't actually want to change, but instead you want the result of changing. You want the better body without giving up comfort, the better grades without sitting hours through boring study, the discipline without forcing yourself to do things you don't like doing. And the moment change asks you to sacrifice something, suddenly your brain becomes incredibly creative. It starts making excuses that I'll start tomorrow. Today I'm too tired. I need to prepare first. I will do it when I feel motivated. And this isn't the right time. And somehow there is always a reason. But what if those reasons aren't stopping you from changing? What if they are the very mechanism your brain uses to keep you comfortable? Now, the comfort trap. Think about this. You decide that you are going to study every day. Day one comes, you sit down, you open your book, and suddenly checking your phone feels very important. You tell yourself that I will just check it for 5 minutes. And then you suddenly realize that 5 minutes become 20, and then you feel guilty. So you tell yourself that I'll start properly tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, and the exact same thing happens again. You don't lack information. You already know what to do. The problem is that knowing what to do and being willing to express the discomfort of doing that are completely different things. Your brain is designed to protect you from discomforts. And unfortunately, growth is uncomfortable. So, why we negotiate with ourselves? The interesting part is that nobody has to force you to quit. You negotiate with yourself. One more episode. I will wake up early tomorrow. I deserve a break. That I'll work hard once my exams are over. And because you are the one who's making the decision, it doesn't feel like you are making an excuse. It feels logical, and that's the dangerous part. You don't need to defend yourself. You just have to convince yourself. Now, let's talk about these solutions. The first solution is self distancing. So, here's the thing you can do: stop looking at yourself from inside the situation. Instead of thinking that I don't feel like studying, say, what would I advise someone else who is in exact same situation that I am currently in? That small change create distance between you and the emotions you are experiencing. Because your feelings are real, but they don't automatically deserve control over your decisions. You can feel lazy and still work. You can feel nervous and still start. You can feel uncomfortable and still continue. You don't have to eliminate the feeling before taking the action. So, next time, if you are facing any problem, think of someone that is facing the same exact problems that you are facing and think what advice would you give to them, and Apply the same advice to yourself. So now let's talk about the second solution. Stop negotiating. The second thing, stop negotiating with yourself. If you have already decided that you are going to study at 7 a.m., don't sit at 7 a.m. and ask, do I feel like studying? That's a terrible question because your brain will probably say no. Instead, make the decision before the emotion arrives. 7 p.m. means you sit down, that's it. No debate, no courtroom, and no reasons to not sit. You have to make decisions first, and emotion is secondary. Solution number three, make the first step ridiculously small. Sometimes the task feels genuinely very long. Suppose you have 3 chapters to study, you have to follow a huge workout, a project that you have been avoiding for weeks, and your brain sees the entire fountain at once. So don't climb the fountain. Take first step. Don't tell yourself that you are going to study for 5 hours. Just say to yourself that I'm going to study for 10 minutes. I am going to solve 10 questions. I'm just going to watch one lecture. That's it. That's all you have to do. Don't think that today you have to study for 10 hours. You have to do a 2 hour workout. Suppose just say that I have to complete 3 sets of the following exercise. And once you complete it, then you can move on to the next step. The goal isn't to finish everything. The goal is to break the resistance to starting. Because once you start, starting is no longer the problem. Now, let's move on to the fourth solution. Remove your escape plan. Sometimes you don't need more discipline. You just need fewer escape routes. Suppose if your phone is sitting next to you while you are studying, you are asking your brain to constantly resist temptation to check your phone. So remove the temptation. Put your phone in another room, log out, close the website, put your phone on do not disturb. It doesn't matter whose call arrives at that moment. You can pick up that call later on once you have completed your work. And if it is genuinely a very important call, then you can add those specific contacts to your star list so that do not disturb, don't block these calls. Your goal is to make distractions harder to access because distractions isn't always about having incredible self-control. Sometimes it's about designing your environment so that you don't need incredible self-control. Now, let's move on to the fifth solution. That is, stop waiting for a new identity. And here is another trap that you might think once I become disciplined, I'll study every day. No, that's backward. You don't become disciplined and then start acting disciplined. You start acting disciplined, and eventually your brain starts seeing you as a disciplined person. Because every time you do something you have said you will do, you are casting a vote for the person you are becoming. You don't need to feel like a disciplined person. You need to act like one before you believe you are one. And maybe that's what real change actually is. Not some dramatic transformation, not waking up one morning as a completely different person. It's thousands of tiny moments where you choose comfort or growth. The alarm rings. You choose whether to get up. The book is open. You choose whether to continue. Your workout feels difficult. You choose whether to finish. Nobody sees these tiny decisions that you make, but those invisible decisions slowly build the person everyone eventually sees. So maybe the question isn't, do I want to change? Most of us will say yes. Maybe the real question is, what am I willing to give up to become the person I say I want to be? Because wanting a different life is easy. Imagine yourself as a smarter, fitter, disciplined, and a successful person. That's easy. But when your whole life asks you to give its comfort, that's when the truth come out. So maybe next time you catch yourself saying that I'll do it tomorrow, pause for a second and ask yourself, am I really waiting for tomorrow? Or am I using tomorrow to protect myself? Because maybe tomorrow was never the problem, maybe comfort was.